Greetings everyone, JC Bad Edit Pro with a video about audio. We're going to talk about the Audio-Technica 92ECD Phono Cartridge. Before we get into that though, let me let you guys know that we survived the great East Coast earthquake of 2011 yesterday with no damage here at the homestead. So that's a good thing. Some of you know that I happen to live in the state of Virginia, and I am about 70 miles away from the epicenter of the 5.8 quake that hit yesterday afternoon at 10 minutes until 2 o'clock. And I think we got kind of lucky where I am because I happen to have a mountain range between me and the epicenter of the quake, and I think that it actually kind of blocked it a little bit. I'm down in the Shenandoah Valley, and so I have a very large mountain range between the little town of Mineral, where the earthquake hit, and so I feel rather fortunate, since a lot of damage in the town of Mineral, and a town not too far away is Louisa. There's a nuclear power station that was about 14 miles away that automatically shut itself down. So there was some tense moments for a little while this afternoon. I guess that's why I've got insomnia and I'm staying up late making videos. The only damage that I've heard of from anybody in my area is a friend of mine told me that their neighbor's above ground pool, when the quake hit, the water started sloshing around in the pool, and it broke one side of the pool, and 30,000 gallons of water flooded their backyard. Other than that, I've heard of no local damage. And my mother, who lives on the other side of the state, in the Portsmouth, Norfolk area, she didn't have any damage either. However, she has a 125-year-old clock that my great-grandfather owned, which hasn't run in 25 years, and the clock started running after the earthquake. I found that to be just a little bit spooky. Anyway, let's move on and talk about this lovely cartridge from Audio-Technica. If you saw my video about the Technics SLQ300 turntable, then you'll remember I said I had ordered one for that unit, and it arrived a couple of days ago, and I've had a chance to get familiar with it. It comes in this lovely packaging, and it's one of the reasons that it's not so expensive, because Audio-Technica is just putting it in a blister pack. However, they're very generous because, as you saw, they give you a screwdriver, they give you a stylus brush, and also all of the hardware and the adapter to mount this T4P P-mount cartridge on a half-inch turntable, and we'll talk a bit about that a little bit later on in the video. Here's a look at the specifications for the 92ECD on the Needle Doctor website. And as you can see, this is an impressive cartridge by the numbers, with a frequency response of 15 to 27,000 hertz. The output is 3.5 millivolts, and the stereo separation is 29 dB at 1 kilohertz and 18 dB at 10 kilohertz. 1.25 dB of guaranteed stereo balance. I guess that's the best way to put that. And the other thing that's quite impressive about this cartridge is the stylus that comes with it is the best stylus that Audio-Technica makes for their entire line of these cartridges that all share the bullnose body. Audio-Technica has been making these cartridges since the 80s, and they still offer a very wide variety with slightly different specifications. However, they only offer 3 replacement styluses for these cartridges, and that would be the AT92ECD SE, which is the 0.3 by 0.7 elliptical. They also have the BE, which is a 0.4 by 0.7 elliptical, and they also have a conical that has a 0.6 mil round stylus. And so it all depends on what you want to do with the card. I guess you could get all 3 and just swap them around. Conical styluses, of course, are very nice for worn records and styrene 45s. However, with a tracking force of 1.25 grams, which is what most P-mount turntables track at, I'm not really worried about playing a styrene 45 with this stylus. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot of damage. Just for fun, I pulled up the specs for the 311 EP, which is a more expensive cartridge from Audio-Technica. And if you look at those, they're pretty much the same, except for the fact that the 311 EP puts out 5 millivolts instead of the 3.5 that the 92ECD puts out. And that seems to be the major difference between the two cartridges. Actually, to tell you the truth, I don't know whether it's just my ears or whether it's my turntable setup, which has changed, of course, but I used to have a 311 EP that I used for quite a while, and I'm detecting less distortion coming from the 92ECD, even though it is a lower-priced cartridge. And also, I just really dig the way this cart sounds. The AT92E is a great value in a cartridge, and the audio quality is superb. As a matter of fact, it approaches the quality of my Audio-Technica AT120E cartridge, which I have talked about in several videos here. That's a half-inch cartridge. This, of course, is a universal mount. I was very impressed. I actually found the stereo imaging to be somewhat better than what I was getting from the AT120E. I think that has more to do with the fact that I'm tracking it on a turntable that has a matched tone arm to a cartridge that is tracking, at 1.25 grams, whereas I'm basically using a DJ turntable with the 120E. That's got a pretty high mass tone arm, so that's going to affect tracking. That was the first thing I noticed. Secondly, I can't get this cartridge to splatter or mistrack even at 1.25 grams. The sibilance performance is just outstanding, and that was a surprise. I thought I was going to get some sibilance. I've been playing around with this turntable and been doing pretty well tracking the Stanton at 1.5 grams, but still getting just a bit of sibilance. This passed the Billy Joel's Nylon Curtain acid test. If you happen to get an original pressing of that album from 1982, that was cut with the CBS disc computer, and it's a very dynamic album, and it'll make most cartridges splatter just a little bit, but this one did absolutely wonderful with that record, and I played a bunch of other records on it too, and I was just surprised. I was communicating with a couple of other YouTube friends, and one person told me that they had given this cartridge a try, and similar Audio-Technica cartridge actually, and said they had gotten a lot of splatter, a lot of mistracking, and I was like, well, I'm kind of surprised. I've never had that with these cartridges. So I was very impressed with this one, especially for the price. I got it for $25. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind. If you're going to put it on a P-mount turntable, I say go for it. It's a bright cartridge. It's got great sound, and for the price, you certainly can't beat it. However, here's a picture that I found on the web of somebody who's running an older Audio-Technica bullnose cart, and they have put it in the head shell using the adapter here. And if you decide that you want to try that with a half-inch turntable, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, some of these turntables don't like these assemblies because they're rather tall. This makes a very tall cart for a half-inch head shell. If your turntable can track, let's say, a Stanton 680 or 681 without any problems, they're very tall carts, you're probably going to be okay. Now, if you just don't know, let me tell you that the Denon DP23F that I had would not track properly with one of these assemblies. It was just too tall, and the vertical tracking angle for the Stylus was just too far off. However, for a Technics or any turntable with like an S-shaped tone arm, they're usually designed for pretty tall cartridges, and if you can adjust the height of your tone arm, well, be my guest, go right ahead. I think you would be very, very surprised at how well it would perform. The other thing to keep in mind is the mass of the tone arm. These cartridges really like to track at 1.25 grams. That is very light for like a USB DJ style turntable. Usually those tone arms are, pretty high mass, and they like to see cartridges that are tracking at 2 grams or higher. It will depend on how well your particular model is built, whether it's going to work or not. but for 25 bucks, you know, you could give it a try, I suppose. Anyway, it's a good all-around value from Audio-Technica. I was very impressed with the performance that I got from the AT92E. So there's my little report on it. Very happy with it on my Technics turntable, and I think that's going to become my main listening turntable for a while, you know, because that's what I was looking for, was just something to be able to play the records. And oh, one more thing, intergroove distortion performance, very good. Not quite as good as the AT120E, I think. Maybe on par, or maybe just a little bit more distortion in the intergrooves with this cartridge, but I think that probably has something to do with the difference in tone arm and difference in alignment. And of course, I haven't even broken this cart in. It's only run for probably 3 or 4 hours, so we'll see what it does over time. Anyway, JC Bad Edit Pro, waving bye-bye. Thanks for watching the video. Talk to you again soon.